When you think of mental health, what issues generally come to mind? Anxiety, depression, ADHD, or bipolar disorder? What might surprise you is that there exist certain disorders that are confined to specific locations in the world. These region-exclusive conditions are collectively known as culture-bound syndromes, and they kind of shed a light on the Western world's limited understanding of mental health. Well, today we're exploring one syndrome in particular, and it's a doozy. It's marked by its fear-based belief in something that most men would consider a nightmare. I'm DreyOfTheDead, and it's time to feed your head. So, in the late 19th century, a surprisingly large number of males in Guangdong, China, all started exhibiting the same intense anxiety. And it centered around a very interesting and specific fear. In particular, the fear of the gradual disappearance of their genitals. Yes, you did hear that correctly. These men quite literally believed that their members were retracting into their bodies and that this would result in imminent death. This condition was termed Koro, which is a Malay word for a turtle's head retracting into its shell. And its earliest symptoms actually date back to ancient Chinese medical records over 2,000 years ago. Now, I get it, to your everyday average person, this might sound a little weird, but if you've never suffered from health anxiety, let me tell you, it fucking sucks. One day you're just chilling watching TV and then you get a brain pain and you never should look it up online, but you can't help yourself. And so you Google it and that's it for you. You have the rarest form of herpes AIDS cancer and you're gonna die in 10 minutes and there's nothing anyone can do for you. It's so unfortunate. It's such a strange concept. Convincing ourselves that we are sick. And most people that do it don't go to the doctor because they don't want to hear a doctor tell them, you're gonna die. And in believing that you're sick, you start to feel symptoms of anxiety that you attribute to being sick, like being short of breath or feeling tingles, general sense of dread, feeling lightheaded. It's the most ridiculous thing. You absolutely make yourself sick believing that you are sick. But this particular brand of hypochondria, I do not envy anyone who believes in their heart that a part of them, a very crucial part of them, is slowly retracting into their body and causing their demise. I could not deal with that. Now, cases in China were mostly confined to southern China and the Yangtze Valley. And while rare individualized cases exist, most of the time it's epidemic in nature, and they tend to flare up during times of social unrest. For example, in 1984, one outbreak lasted for over a year, and it affected over 3,000 people in 16 cities. Imagine, if you will, that you believe in your heart that you are going to die from a fatal case of toxoplasmosis, and nobody really knows why because you don't have a cat. But not only that, you go and visit your friends and family and they firmly believe that they are all also going to die from a fatal case of toxoplasmosis. On my own, my health anxiety is already too much for me to handle. Much less sharing it with the community of people around me. I can't deal with that. Fortunately, the country conducted a mental health campaign, and since, no further epidemic episodes have occurred in China. Now, Koro is probably best described as a panic disorder, and it includes some very interesting symptoms, such as an unsubstantiated perception of genital retraction or shrinking, localized tingling, and anxiety attacks. And in extreme cases, manual or even mechanical means can be used to prevent retractions such as compulsive pulling or something called anchoring that I don't even want to know, and I'm sure, it's just, no, I'm good. And those a lot of times will lead to injury. I am very sorry to any penis having individuals right now. Because it ties into cultural beliefs in China, many of the indigenous treatments include things like prayer, exorcism, the banishment of fox spirits, medicinal remedies, and herbal potions. But despite its classification as a culture-bound syndrome, it actually extended further than simply China. In fact, there were cases found in Southeast Asia, the US, Africa, Europe. I will give you actually one guess as to who was thought to be to blame for such an ailment in the European Middle Ages. Ready? Go. Stop. If you guessed witches, you are correct. What I find really interesting is how this particular condition varied in different countries. Like in West Africa, most sufferers believed that their members were being stolen in occult rituals, whereas in Germany, psychologists found that many of those affected had experienced a recent uncomfortable sexual encounter, like an extramarital affair. But the constant was that in many cases around the world, certain factors such as sexual inadequacy, guilt, shame, misinformation, prior mental illness, these things all played a significant role in affected individuals. But strangely enough, the accompanying fear of death as a result of such an ailment was solely confined to Asia. I know that correlation does not equal causation, but I'm the kind of person that loves to know correlations, and I want to know why the fear of death for this ailment was confined to Asia and not to the rest of the world. I also found it very interesting that in rare cases, Koro also affects women. And that makes me hurt. Luckily, in many countries, Koro has successfully been alleviated through educational efforts and mental health campaigns. In the Western world, treatments include antipsychotic and antidepressant medications. If you happen to find yourself with a peculiar sense of reproductive retreat, don't do what I would do and go online and Google it. Just contact a local healthcare professional and go see a doctor. It's just trust me on this. Trust me. If you enjoyed this strange but true tale, be sure to subscribe and check out previous episodes. We put out videos every other Friday, or, we try to put out videos every other Friday. If you enjoy blooper reels and behind the scenes footage, you will definitely want to check out my Patreon. I have a shit ton of bloopers there, and you could just watch me fuck up all of my lines. It's great. Check it out. These are just a few of the patrons who regularly get to laugh at my fuck-ups, and they also make these videos possible, so they're actually really cool. Thank you guys. Is there something I should be calling these more intimate episodes? If so, leave it in the comments, and I'll check it out. As always, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate your presence and the fact that you enjoy these videos. My heart is filled by you. So, thank you. Be well and stay strange. Out of my dreams. Get into my car. Get into my car.